Hello, all you amazing people, all my froggies. How's everybody doing out there? How did everybody survive the storm? We didn't get. It's cold outside. I mean, it is really cold, but we didn't get any snow. I haven't driven, so I don't know if there's any ice on the ground, anything of that nature. But in this area, there is no snow. In my grandson's area, he made a video early this morning, and he was talking about where's all this blizzard? Where's all this life-changing weather that everybody keeps talking about? There's nothing on the ground except for the brown grass that's in his yard. He showed it on his video. I thought it was quite funny, and it applies here too. It's only like 40. He was like, it's only 41 degrees. It's 40 here. So, where's all this snow? Where is this stuff? Not that I'm not glad, because if you know, I don't like the cold weather. We didn't have any electricity out as far as I know, but he loves the cold. He loves the snow. He loves that kind of thing. So I feel disappointed for him. Anyway, welcome to Cassie's Corner. I'm Cassie, and this is where we discuss ways to change our minds, to change our thoughts, the way that we think, and try to make peace with ourselves and other people, so that we're not going around being absolutely mad behaving people, especially if you are into the depressive thoughts and things like that. This is just a way to help make you feel better. I just give advice. I'm not a medical professional. I am not a psychiatrist or anything of that nature. The only professional thing I claim to be is a professional housewife. That's it. Otherwise, I have been in a deep, dark, depressed mood. I have suffered greatly for about 10, 15 years. Whereas everything was nobody could tell me anything. Nobody could help me. There was nothing anybody said that made any sense to me. You could not change my mind. I was sad, I was mad, I was angry, anything of that nature. I couldn't come out of the house. I couldn't be seen in public. I only wore jogging pants. I mean, that's all I wear around the house now, jogging pants. But I do get up. If you've seen some of my videos before, I do get up and I do try to make myself presentable for the world and wear makeup every now and then. If I have, if I need to. Sometimes I just play with makeup, that kind of thing. I hope that nobody ever feels depressed ever again. It's not biblically right to feel depressed all the time. God made us confident. God made us be confident in His love. And I'm just trying to fix my camera a little bit. I feel wonky. I do believe in God. I do believe in Jesus. I do have some great amounts of faith in the religious world. Do I practice? I try to live as close God-like, Jesus-like as I can, as close as I can. Sometimes that slips. I'm not always perfect. I'm not perfect at all. I make tons of mistakes, but I don't sit there and I did for a long time. If I made a mistake, I would sit there and just brew over it for like 2 or 3 days, just cry over it. Oh my God, I made a mistake. I'm useless. Don't talk to yourself like that. Just don't talk to yourself. Talk to yourself the best way you know how. Talk to yourself as if you were your own child. And I know you love your children. Talk to yourself as if you are your young self. You need that positive voice. And say it out loud, but be careful who you're around, because people can think you're crazy. And it's okay if people think I'm crazy, because I'm used to it. I'm weird, but that just means I'm a limited edition, and I don't care. I don't care. Just say Cassie told me to do it. And if they look for me, okay, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. I had a Facebook. I did this for you guys. I did this all for you guys. I had a Facebook, an alternative Facebook. It was called Happy Girl. And I was posting nothing but happy things on there. Happy thoughts. Happy, happy, happy. And yesterday I thought, oh my goodness, why don't I use that for another Cassie's Corner, a Facebook Cassie's Corner? So I did. I changed it to Cassie's Corner. I will link it down below. So that way you can get on Facebook and you can add me if you want to. You can post on there if you want to. You can say hey, and that way Cassie's Corner can be spread a little bit further. And that way it's not just the happy girl. There's other happy girls on there, and I just changed it to Cassie's Corner to benefit my YouTubers. And I will be posting more on there. Yay, win-win. If you say so, Cassie. If you say so. So today we're on lesson 25, day 25 of the Daily Stoic, and this is where people gathered together and thought of a better way to deal with their adversaries, maybe their enemies, maybe their enemies. You know, their the people they're battling. These were ancient Romans, ancient Greeks, and everything was done by war at that time. So they had people that they had to kind of obliterate, but not with the mind. They used their mind to be calm and make sure that everybody had their dignity intact. And they were peaceful, knowing that they didn't have to maybe bless somebody else out 24 hours a day. They didn't use their mind to be vengeful or putting down their character. They knew that they had to battle to keep their country, safe, their people safe. But they didn't use the mind. They didn't use any kind of mind power to be like, well, you're an idiot. And we see that a lot especially in today's world in the United States. We have politicians calling each other names, or state heads calling each other names, or saying something about their character, and that's not the right way to go. That is not the right way to go. So they had this theory called the Stoic, to keep their mind at ease and their heart at ease with what they had to say about people, or how they behaved. And if they behaved in a mature enough, quiet way, it kind of threw off their enemy. Their enemy didn't know how to expect their behavior. They didn't know how to, instead of saying, okay, I'm attacking your character, and this person comes out of the door blazing, they just stood inside and said, well, that's what you think, and then we'll battle you on the field. So they didn't know what to expect from these Stoic people that thought better of the way that they entertained their wars and their personal endeavors. I think it's kind of a neat way to behave, and to me, it's more like a way. Jesus was perfect. I promise you, Jesus was a perfect person, and I have to think about how he was on this earth, and I'll mention it every time, that when he walked this earth over in Jerusalem and Bethlehem and places like that, I just don't see him arguing with somebody because they had a different way of thinking, that they thought different, that they didn't believe in the way that he believed, or they didn't heed to what he had to say. I do see him being demanding in his voice, like kind of not yelling so people would hear him, but yelling to emphasize how important what he had to say. Like people didn't listen and kept coming at him with how they thought. And he's like, I'm perfect, and I know how the world is going to be, and I need you to hear me. I need you to listen. So I do remember a couple of times, excuse me, every day. It's the weather, I promise. But I do remember a couple of times that he was in the Bible. It did say that, he kind of did raise his voice, but not to a point where you're going to listen to me. This is my opinion. He wanted them to understand the importance of trusting and believing in God and himself, so that they would be saved. And it was important to him to love, his brothers and sisters enough to be saved. So that kind of thing. It wasn't like he was screaming all the way to the, to where he was crucified or anything like that. I think he screamed in pain, because he was human. I would scream in pain too. What he endured to save our lives was just phenomenal, and I don't see him not being human and not expressing his hurt in that way. But he didn't argue; he knew what was coming. So as they marched him to where he was crucified, I don't see him being like, no, we don't have to do this, no, you know. I just don't see it. So I feel like this is more of a way, not that Jesus would know what a Stoic is, because this is way after his time. But I feel like this is more in line with how he behaved while he was here on earth. That is my theory. I could be wrong. I'm not a stranger to wrong. I know I can be wrong. But this is how I feel, was closest to his behavior in dealing with other people. So we're on day 25. The only prize is the title of this. Day 5. We only have a week, people, and it's already February. And February does have 29 days this year. I looked it up. I got this going on. I got this already. Okay. So it says, what's left to be prized? I think to limit our actions or inaction to only what's in keeping with the needs of our own preparation is what the exertions of education and teaching are all about. Here's the thing to be prized. If you hold this firmly, you'll stop trying to get yourself all the other things. If you don't, you won't be free of self-sufficient or liberated from passion, but necessarily full of envy, jealousy, and suspicion for any who have the power to take them, and you'll plot against those who do have what you prize. But by having some self-respect for your own mind and prizing it, you will please yourself and will be better in harmony with your fellow human beings and more in tune with the gods, praising everything they have set in order and allotted you. And Marcus Aurelius said that in his Meditations. What does that mean? We're getting into it. Warren Buffett, whose net worth is approximately 65 billion, lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. John Urschel, a lineman for the Baltimore Ravens, makes millions but manages to live on $25,000 a year. San Antonio Spurs star, please forgive me if I butcher your name, Kawhi Leonard, gets around in the 1997 Chevy Tahoe he's had since he was a teenager, even with a contract worth some $94 million. Why? It's not because these men are cheap. It's because the things that matter to them are cheap. Neither Buffett nor Urschel nor Leonard ended up this way by accident. Their lifestyle is a result of prioritizing. They cultivate interests that are decidedly below their financial means, and as a result, any income would allow them freedom to pursue the things they most care about. It just happens that they became wealthy and beyond any expectation. This kind of clarity being our key word for January, this kind of clarity about what they love most in the world means they can enjoy their lives. It means they'd still be happy even if the markets were to return to their careers. Let me phrase that again. It means they'd still be happy even if the markets were to turn or their careers were cut short by injury. The more things we desire and the more we have to do to earn or attain those achievements, the less we actually enjoy our lives and the less free we are. Sorry about my reading. I don't know what's going on with me. I can't see. I got bottle caps, but I can't see. I think that's very important to note that some people, even though they make millions of dollars, that they live quite simply and are sitting on cash in a way that they have prepared for a future. They have prepared for, what if I get sick? They have prepared for, what if the market crashes? They have prepared for, what if? And a lot of times we don't live for what if, what if, what if, what if. We live for instant gratification. We live for instant satisfaction. We live for the moment. And I think that is very telling of these people that they have in hindsight, that they have this money, but that he's got a 1997 truck that he's had since he was a kid, you know? I think that's awesome. I think that is, I would be buying me a BMW. I want a BMW so bad I don't know what to do. I mean, I know I'll probably never have one. I would like to have one because I've driven one, so they're very, very nice, a very nice ride. But why? I mean, my insurance would be sky high. My, everything else, it would be more money to maintain the fact that I have a BMW than to have the BMW. I think that's kind of awesome, and it makes me want to change my perspective and see that all this stuff that I have at one time costed money. Yep, everything costs money, and it makes me wonder why. I know I grew up a poor child. I'm not to say I did without, because I didn't feel like I did. My grandma would give me her last $5 if that was the case, to make me happy. So I don't feel like I was ever without. I knew we were poor, but I didn't have my own room, and I always shared a room with somebody. I always shared clothes with somebody. I always, nothing was ever really mine. So I took that, and I kind of, in my depressive state, I decided to build a room, which is my son's old room, for me, my office, and this is what I ended up with. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I think this is kind of nice that we do have people on the world. We have all these rappers, and the more bling, the more popular they are, or the more bling, they use it to denote their power or their status, or their popularity. It's kind of, we're kind of backwards. What are their priorities? Who is the one famous person that you think is just out of this world and showing off what they have by ways of money, by ways of how they earned it? I mean, if you got it, you can't take the money with you. No, I agree with that. You might as well spend it and enjoy it while you're here, but also think about the future. Think about your kids. Think about their college. Think about what if. And you'll probably just, that simple way of thinking will probably keep you out of debt more than it will put you in debt. I'd hate to think that the market would crash tomorrow and all these people have like millions and millions and millions of dollars, and all of a sudden the market crashed, and then all of this by way of tax or whatever has to be taken away from them, and they didn't plan for what's to come, and they lose it all just over a market crash. Weird to think that some people are. Warren Buffett has the same house since 1958. Can you imagine? I mean, I assume he's updated it and he's remodeled it and things like that. 1958. That is awesome. That is. Yeah, we know it's 12 o'clock. Shh, nobody's asking you. Nobody's asking. So how did everyone fare with the weather? Did snow come your way? Are you having snow? If you do, send it to North Alabama. Freckles would love to have some of it himself. He really would. Did this piece, did it help with anything? Did it simplify things maybe a little more? To me, it did. It kind of did. I'm still learning. You know, I always be depressed, kind of like being an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever. I always have to fight that depression, but a different way of thinking is always a different way of thinking. Whether you learn something new every day. My first grade teacher told me that, Miss Houston. I'll never ever ever forget her. I still see her face every now and then. She told me that the first day of first grade, and I was like, no, you don't. Once you're an adult, you know everything. But she did. She told me that, and I don't have no idea why that one sentence just keeps in my mind. You learn something new every day. She told me that way back then, and the more I lived, the more I realized that she was right. And I would always see her face standing there in our first grade room. She's like, "Hi, I'm Miss Houston. I'm the principal, and I want you to know that learning doesn't stop in the classroom. You learn something new every day." And I really thought she was out of her mind. But you do. You learn something new every day. Wow. So much money. $25,000 a year. He lives off of $20,000. $25,000 a year. All right. I think that is it for me. I do wish that you would have a wonderful, wonderful day. That if you do have snow, you enjoy it. If you like the cold, you enjoy it. If you have sunshine, please enjoy it, because I don't have any sunshine right now. That you find that great big belly laugh. You find somebody to appreciate, even if it is your spouse and he's been talking about saving money for years and years and years, like mine has. And you've been like, okay, I don't have any diamonds on my hands. I don't have this. I don't have that. Well, think of what you do have. You have money saved up. And be grateful that your spouse talked you into that, talked you into having a what if fun, like what if one of us gets sick, or Lord forbid, I'm not wishing this on anyone, but maybe develops cancer of some sort. That way you can, you have a means of income for the time you are sick, and you can pay for your hospital bills, things of that nature. So be grateful for that spouse that has done that for you. Be kind to yourself. It's really important that you be kind to yourself, and that you know that you are very worthy of everything you desire. You are not useless, and you are loved beyond measure. That you have a place in this world, and you deserve to be here. Especially you young people, you deserve to be here just as much as anybody else. Just because somebody's telling you something different, be strong and don't listen to them, because they have no idea what they're talking about. They're being cruel, they're being evil, and they are not making any sense. If you're put here, don't you belong here as much as they do? I mean, just think about what is being said to you, and think about why, and know that you have no reason in the world not to be here. You deserve to be here just as much as anyone else does. And that goes for you adults too. I'm just worried about these people, these young people, 12, 14, 11 years old, trying to do away with the world way before the time, just because somebody else had the opinion that they don't need to be here, that they shouldn't be here. That's wrong. Bullies are bad. Bullies. Know a bully when you see one. There's bullies everywhere. They're grown. They're young. They're evil though. They are really, really evil, and they can make you believe things that are just not true. But you belong here. If you're here, if God put you here, you belong here. Period. Point blank. You may not think so, but change your thinking, and you will definitely understand that you belong here, and you have a purpose. Whether it's to do as I do and take that kindness and give it to somebody else, or to make someone else believe that they need to be here. You have a purpose to be here. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.